Hello, CPAC.
Okay, we can do better than that. Hello, CPAC.
Hi.
All right, that's more like it.
Any Republicans out there today? Couple? Yeah? Any Daily Caller readers? Okay, good. Making sure you're out there too. Actually, let's get started there, Ronna. I want to get a show of hands in the room. How many people consider themselves politically independent, not a member of either political party? Anybody? Couple. So the hands you see, and increasingly we see a lot of people identify as independent, although they're conservative around the country. How do you get those people to join the Republican Party?
Well, I think you tout the results of this administration. As people see 5 million new jobs come to this country, as they have seen wage growth, as they have seen a president who has brought manufacturing jobs back, unemployment at record lows for the Hispanic and African American communities, and then you look at why is that? Well, because we've cut taxes, we've cut regulation, we're making better trade deals. And so when you make the cases, this isn't just talking points. This is being seen right now in real time in action, making our economy better, 4.6 million people off of food stamps. You can make the case. And I think that's something that we have on our side right now. As the Democrats are dealing in theory and pipe dreams, we can actually say, we've put this into action and lives are better.
You know, I wonder how much the Democratic Party and Democrats broadly have unintentionally helped your cause in the last few months. And why I ask that is I want to give you, this is a not exhaustive list. Here we go. Covington Catholic High School, Jussie Smollett, the Green New Deal, conservatives being assaulted on campus. We just saw that in Berkeley. Aggressive late-term abortion bills in New York, Virginia. Democrats openly discussing letting babies die after birth. Democrats caught wearing blackface. Democrats receiving bipartisan condemnation for anti-Semitism. Democrats calling border walls immoral, calling for them to be torn down. Why do they pay you? What's your job now? They're doing it for you.
Well, you do have a media that's 93% negative against this president. And we saw it yesterday. And this is what you're going to see the next 2 years. They're going to bring the circus to town day after day after day with investigations and ridiculous committee hearings because they don't want people to focus on the results that are making people's lives better in this country. And yes, the Democrats are giving us a lot of gifts right now.
Yeah, that's true.
But AOC, we can't take her for granted. We can't think that the American people understand what socialism is. We do have to go out and educate. We have to talk about Venezuela, where 90% of the people right now are living beneath poverty, that they don't have groceries in their grocery stores, that people are eating dog food to survive. That is the path that Democrats are taking us down by promising everything. Free health care, free education. What that will do will bankrupt our country, turn us into a socialist nation. And it is the biggest power grab in history. AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, they're saying, give the reins to us. We want to take control of everything. We want the government to make every decision, which means they want to make the decisions. And we have to get out and educate. So everybody here, we've got to be out talking. And they try and shame us for being Republican. They try and make us afraid to speak. This is the time to be bold. We have to be out sharing our values and talking about these results, inviting people into our homes, because if we don't, they will take our nation down a path that we won't recognize our nation anymore. That's what's at stake.
Yeah, I think a lot of conservatives are beginning to speak up, especially based on all those things that I just mentioned, people reacting. Wait a second, I know a country that's much better than this. I want to talk to you about the American family for a moment. Yeah. Democrats increasingly, I mentioned enthusiastic abortion supporters. Many have displayed open contempt for Christianity, Judaism, and nobody seems to care that American birth rates have plummeted to incredible lows. How does the Republican Party fix that? Does the Republican Party care about that, the restoration of the American family?
Well, of course we care about the family. And I think the president, one of the best things that he's done on a bipartisan basis, and you're going to hear this later with Van Jones and Matt Schlapp, is the First Steps Act. That is about the family. You have people who have disproportionately been pulled away from their families with these mandatory sentences for nonviolent crimes and unable to reunite husbands and wives and children. And now when you see people like Matthew Charles, who led Bible study classes, who got a law degree when he was in prison, who had a 35-year sentence that was disproportionate to his crime, now being able to come into the community and be with his family, those are the things the president's doing to help the family. Also, think about the 4.6 million people off of food stamps. What does that mean for a family? We talk about statistics all the time. think about what that means for somebody who's able to make a good wage as they've gotten a job and able to provide for themselves and what that's going to mean for their children. That is what our party is about. And then, of course, the late-term abortion.
Yes.
It's not a late-term abortion. It's murder. It is murder, what Ralph Northam talked about. And we need to speak about it in those terms. When you hear a Democrat saying, let the baby be born, keep it comfortable while the doctor and the mother make a decision, that is murder. And what the Democrats just did this week by not voting to protect children after they're born and take care of them, that is despicable. And so when you look at their party and what they stand for and what we stand for life, we stand for humanity, and we stand for treating people, even the most vulnerable, a brand new baby, with the dignity and respect and care that they deserve. That's what our party's about.
Yeah, and that issue, polling's already showing that America is with you here, because a Marist poll just released this past week shows that in a single month, all of a sudden the country's like 8 or 9% more pro-life, just like that, because that issue has really stuck out to me.
Because this goes beyond pro-life, pro-choice. There are people in this country who have different opinions on that, and we're going to disagree on that.
That's
I'm
right.
pro-life. But let's talk about, on a due date as a mother is giving birth, saying that that's the time to terminate a pregnancy or to not take care of a baby. That is reprehensible. And every American across party lines should be speaking out against that. But Democrats have stayed silent. They are so beholden to Planned Parenthood and this progressive socialist wing of their party, they won't even say that that's wrong. And that's what they stand for.
Yeah, and there's not much division in the Republican Party on that issue, but there is some division on the next one, which is I want to ask you about open borders, right? So we hear a lot of Democrats that are for open borders, tearing down walls. Walls are immortal. But the Republican Party, had majority control, both houses, for 2 years under the Trump administration, and we didn't get a meaningful fix to our out-of-control, broken immigration system during that time. So the question becomes, is the Republican Party beholden to the voters who put Republicans into office, or the big business interests who want to keep exploiting illegal immigrants at the expense of American workers?
Well, let's remember, the House did pass a border package, and they sent it to the president. And then the Senate, we're all aware, you need 60 votes to pass that. We had 51 seats at the time. That meant 9 Democrats had to come across. So the Democrats want to say, oh, you control the Senate and the House. Well, with the filibuster, with that 60-vote threshold, even with 53 votes in the Senate, we need Democrats to pass meaningful immigration reform. And that's why Democrats need to receive pressure. Joe Manchin, Democrats in these red states, Doug Jones, because they know what their voters stand for. And let's make no mistake, we do have a crisis and an emergency at our border, and our president is exactly right to call this an emergency.
Let's get into the business of the RNC now. How many RNC staffers do you currently have tasked with looking into every single Democrat who wants to run for office?
I can't reveal those trade secrets, but we are doing our homework. We are watching these Democrats. Boy, their field gets bigger and bigger every day. They're so excited about Beto O'Rourke. Did you hear Beto O'Rourke might announce? You know what his biggest accomplishment was? Losing to Ted Cruz. That's who their big great hope is. Give me a break.
Well, he did go to the dentist. I mean,
he did go to the dentist, yeah. And I think he
credit.
passed legislation to name a post office.
Sure,
so
there you go.
That's who they're going to pin their hopes on. Oh, and he can skateboard. I mean, give me a break. Kamala Harris calling to get rid of private health insurance plans. Bernie Sanders, they're all trying to out-Bernie. Listen, they have gone so left, so progressive, so socialist. We have our work cut out for us, though, because they're saying things to millennials, and they're getting on these college campuses, and they're promising the moon and the stars. It's the ultimate bait and switch. It will destroy our country, and we have to be bold and talking to everybody and exposing the reality of the dangers of what they're proposing.
Well, let me talk about another Democratic presidential candidate. This is a good opportunity for that. Your uncle is Mitt Romney. I should point that out. He was attacked for using the phrase "binders full of women." You remember this? Which was an insane.
Yeah, he was attacked for everything. It was Big Bird, for binders full of women. I mean, they attack every Republican.
Truly nuts. Well, now we have a real binder scandal. Senator Amy Klobuchar has been accused and has admitted to throwing a binder and striking one of her own employees. Additionally, she's eaten a salad with a comb and then had an employee clean it for her. There's all sorts of things like this. If you mistreat your own employees, does that disqualify you for higher office?
Well, I think it factors into the calculus of who is this person.
Don't be gentle.
I mean, I've never met anybody who's met a salad with a comb. I think that's a little weird. But I think her staff is coming out and saying, listen, this is a person who wasn't kind to us. She didn't treat us well. That factors into the overall calculus. But more concerning about Amy Klobuchar and these Democrats really is what they're proposing for our country, which will bankrupt our nation. It is so far left, and it's frightening, and it's going to be a choice. Are we going to want capitalism? Look at all the great achievements of our country. Flight, cars, the internet. Sorry, Al Gore, the internet. None of that came from government, right? It came from innovation. It came from the greatness of America. We live in the best country in the world, and it is because of our freedoms. And Democrats want to take that away. They want to take it away. So this will be an election. Do we want the American dream? Do we want innovation? Do we want individual liberty? Or do we want the government to tell us everything that we get, what we can do? Do we want the power to be in Washington in the hands of elected officials? That's what Democrats want. So this will be the most stark choice as to the future of our country. And we are the ones in this moment, in this time, tasked with fighting for our country. So every one of us has to take that mantle on, because it's going to be a difficult election with lots of money and a media that is totally in the bag for the Democrat Party.
All right. I realize that you don't want to give away too much about what your plans are against these Democratic candidates, but I'm going to ask you a detailed question now. You don't have to answer it, but here it is. Have you hired any Russians to help you investigate the Democrats? And do you plan to give any of that research to the FBI so that they can launch a far-reaching investigation into your political opponents after the election?
Yeah, I mean, isn't that amazing, the Fusion GPS, that the Democrat National Committee paid for this fake dossier? The one thing you saw from Michael Cohen's testimony yesterday, Michael Cohen, who's going to jail for lying, but let's bring him back in front of Congress because we think he'll suddenly tell the truth. But he did say he never went to Prague, which was such a huge part of that fake dossier that, of course, went to Bruce Orr, whose wife worked for Fusion GPS. But really, the story that's not being talked about right now is Adam Schiff needs to recuse himself from this investigation. Adam Schiff had a private meeting with Glenn Simpson, the head of Fusion GPS. He didn't disclose it to the committee. There is no reason why he should be part of this and leading this investigation, and we should all be calling for his recusal from this investigation.
Let me ask you about the Republican side of the aisle. You know, you think about there's a Democratic primary going on, but will President Trump run unopposed in the GOP primary? And what do you do if John Kasich or Larry Hogan say, you know what, I'm jumping in?
Well, they have the right to jump in and lose. That's fine. They will lose horribly. I mean, the president has 93% approval in our party. Our country is booming. Jobs are coming back. Wages are up. Our military has been strengthened. Our veterans have been taken care of. Our trade deals are stronger. We have put rule of law judges at every level of the courts, including the Supreme Court with Kavanaugh and Gorsuch. What would any Republican be thinking, saying this is a guy I'm going to run against? So have at it. Go ahead, waste your money, waste your time, and go ahead and lose.
All right. So one of the things I've been hearing lately is that you've been advocating that people fight like a liberal. What does that mean?
Oh, fight like a liberal. I don't know what that means.
Oh, really?
All
right, well, that's your staff who told me about that.
That's my staff.
Well, that means just win. I think that's what you're trying to go for.
Well, yeah, we're going to beat them. We're going to beat them. But
all right.
I'm not taking anything for granted.
Okay.
We know, and so from an RNC perspective, we have staff on the ground in these battleground states. We have a website, GOP.com. Please go volunteer. Get involved. We know that the difference that we can make is talking to our neighbors, talking to our friends. So many people aren't paying attention to what's happening. They've turned off the news because it's so negative. They're tired of the liberal spin. So we have to have these conversations. That's how we'll make a difference and re-elect President Trump in 2020.
All right. Let's talk about the rising stars of CPAC. You've brought some rising stars with you here, the RNC?
Yes, so we have 20 young men and women that we have brought from across the country to CPAC. They are rising stars. Please stand up. There are 20 of them here today. Where are you?
They're out there.
All right, take a look. Go befriend them. These are people who are going to make a difference in our party. They are leaders, and they're doing an outstanding job. We're giving them media training. We're giving them the tools to go out and be leaders in our party. You see people like Candace Owen, like Charlie Kirk. We need more leaders like that. We need more young people. So the RNC brought them here. Go say hi to them. They have little badges on. You'll see them. But these rising stars are the future of our party, and we need to mentor them and bring them into our fold.
You know, we're often told that the Democratic Party is the party of young people. How does the Republican Party attract youthful supporters?
Well, you go to college campuses. We've got to get out and talk to people who haven't heard from our party enough. We've got to go to places where you don't think Republicans are going to be. And you've got to go to college campuses and you got to say, here's what Democrats are saying. They're going to talk to you about free education, and they're going to say college will be free. We have kids who can't read right now in elementary schools. We have kids who aren't graduating from high school. Let's fix the education system we have right now, and let's be proponents for school choice so that people aren't bound by their zip code to determine the type of education and the quality of education they have. They're going to talk about free health care. They want to take away your relationship with your doctor and your ability to make decisions. We don't want that. We want you to make a decision with your doctor. We don't think the government's the best place to be making decisions for your health care needs. So as we talk about these things with college kids, and then we say, you're upset about the tuition on your campus, your rates keep going up, go look who's running your school. Look at the board of trustees of your school. Look at the president. They are all liberal. They are raising your rates, and they are the ones governing your school. Take them on, because they're the ones who are making your college costs too high and not providing you with an education that will get you a job when you graduate. So you got to go talk to these kids and educate them.
One of the Democrats who's planning on jumping in soon is Joe Biden.
Oh, yeah.
Are you excited by the Joe Biden announcement?
My husband said if Joe Biden were a superhero, he'd be Gaff Man. He makes so many mistakes,
yeah.
and so many gaffes. Listen, great, Joe Biden, go ahead and run.
Sure.
Run on your record of stagnant wages, of jobs leaving this country, of manufacturing jobs fleeing the United States of America, of bad trade deals, of bad foreign policy. I mean, look at North Korea, just this one example. We have a president who's now finishing his second summit with Kim Jong-un. He walked away, rightly, because he said, we're not going to take away the sanctions if you're not going to denuclearize. But let's look what was happening under the Obama administration. The last year of Obama-Biden, North Korea was firing missiles every 24 days. That's what was happening. President Trump, under his administration, it's been 458 days. He has increased the sanctions, and the president has strengthened our country with his strong support of our military and his strong stance on the national stage. So Joe Biden, please run on your record. We'd love to have that.
All right, that's an invite to Joe Biden. Thank you, Ronna McDaniel. Really appreciate you this morning.
Thank you so much. Thank you.